It's wild how it works.
Yeah.
So, well, man, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So, before we get into your work, I know we're all getting to a point where we probably just don't want to talk about COVID anymore, but it was such a big deal for us. So, ultimately, how did you survive that pandemic period, and how has it influenced the way that you live your life and do things now?
Well, I think we're pretty fortunate actually because I actually already worked from home before COVID started, and my wife homeschools our. We have two daughters, so from a day-to-day aspect, we're pretty blessed, pretty fortunate. So we were already at home, so everyone had to hop on their Zoom links and get to that, do their schooling from home, and we were kind of already had our system. So obviously, it was a huge change for us as far as connecting with friends and masking, especially with Chicago. There's so many people everywhere. Um, but it was we were fortunate to kind of keep our rhythms in place, as far as school and work, and so we were pretty fortunate in that regard. And then we, changed for doing church online, so it was definitely, um, it was a change for sure. So and we just kind of kept going. So I would say it really taught us to care about people though, because it brought out kind of everyone had an opinion about everything, and so it just really kind of moving from that point to now just really gave me more appreciation for people's opinions. We don't have to believe 100% the same about everything. We can have shared friendship, shared values, but kind of value that person's feelings about something. Some people were immunocompromised. Some people were kind of just afraid to leave their house. And
Yeah.
so we tried to kind of, care about how that person's beliefs, feelings about COVID and, their health. And we really wanted to value the person, the individual person. So that was kind of what I took from that. Here we are 4.5, almost 5 years later. And so really just kind of seeing each person, um, and listening to them. And yeah, I think it's kind of like, yeah, it's a shared thing. I was, a senior in high school during 9/11. So that's probably the last huge thing
Yeah.
that we can all be like, oh, where were you when you found out? Like, I remember in California, I was getting ready for school. Um, and so even my daughters will have, that's their event. Hopefully that's the worst thing that'll happen, but um, it unites us all. So
Yeah.
I think that's the good thing that we can take from it as well.
Well, and I think down that path of empathy too for others, you get more emboldened in the way you believe. It kind of just strengthens all the way around, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so let's get to the heart and soul of what you do as a storyteller and an author. And to do that, I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third grade students at career day, and they want to know what you do on a daily basis. So one of the kids is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
Well, I'm actually good at talking to kids. I've been involved with kids, and I used to work at Chicago Children's Museum, so that is right up my alley. Well, actually, for a living, I sell insurance for dogs and cats, which is kind of a crazy thing. I didn't know it was a thing, but I've been doing it for 10 years, and I do my authoring on the side. So I think it's what I would say to them is, sometimes you have to do chores, do things that you can to make a living, or things that you have to do, and then you have the things that are your passion. So I, yeah, provide for my family in that way as we homeschool our daughters and, um, keep the lights on. But yeah, my heart and soul is to yeah, I like speaking to kids. So I like taking these huge concepts of the world. I write it from a spiritual perspective. I'm a Christian, and so um, I like to share these huge cosmic realities of the world and break them down into kind of simple, tangible, steps and um, kind of things that are easy to understand. So my new book is called I Can't Wait, and it's it just talks about waiting and how waiting is hard, uh, and waiting is good. And then there's some times where we should stop waiting and kind of go for it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my newest book. But my last book, I self published another book, and it was kind of lessons from a simple man. So I consider myself a simple man. That's how I love breaking huge realities of the world, huge theological things, and break them down into simple bite-sized concepts for people to understand.
So, what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream to ultimately grow up and become?
Well, I love sports. I'm from Southern California, so I'm like half and half. I'm a big Lakers fan, UCLA fan. So I played high school basketball, college basketball. So I wanted to um, be a basketball player. Wanted to go to UCLA and play basketball. And then when that dream died, I wanted to get into sports broadcasting. They actually had this ESPN had this thing called Dream Job, where it's kind of like the American Idol for sports broadcasters. And the guy who eventually won it, Mike Hall, I think he's on like the Big Ten network now. But I tried out for that, didn't make it on, but that was kind of um, my heart was sports and sports broadcasting. And then I went to Cal State Fullerton in California and kind of had my heart on that. And then um, yeah, so it was sports at that time, and then kind of my dreams and passions kind of changed. But that's what I wanted to do at that time.
We have a shared kindred spirit. I That's what I wanted to get into. I didn't know that Sports Center had some competition. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, it's called. I think it was one. No, it was 2 seasons. Yeah, Mike Hall is his name. He won it the first year, and I think another guy won it the second year. But it was pretty. It was pretty interesting. It was. I think it was when I was in college, so it was probably like 2000. I'm gonna say 2004, where they all. I went to. I think it was like ESPN um, Cafe or whatever the restaurant was, ESPN Zone in LA or something, and we all kind of shared sports stories and kind of all um, proved why you should be there. And you went to the next round and the next round. I didn't make it very far because apparently I was not as good about talking about sports or didn't have as much to say being a 20-year-old at the time.
Well, it's hard. It's a hard world to get into, and reality TV has their own kind of matrix that they go after. I remember the first loan I ever took out. I went to the bank to go to the first annual sports broadcasting camp at the University of Missouri St. Louis, and the keynote speaker was Bob Costas. So we're there for like
Wow.
a week, and no one could sleep the night before. It was like the god of broadcasting was coming in, and it was great. I remember my memory of him being in there is I wrote down every word that he said that I didn't know the definition of, and I was just filling up my legal pad, just like he was just nailing the words. But Joe Buck was there. No, yeah, not his dad. It was Joe. There was a lot of people, but anyway, yeah, it's a very unique world. I got into it for a little bit, and as you probably know, if you dip your toe into sports broadcasting in the beginning, there's not a lot of money, and it can be very, very stressful to be in that world.
Yeah, I grew up with Chick Hearn being a Lakers fan. I was a big Lakers fan even before Shaq and Kobe with Nick Van Exel, Eddie Jones, Vlade Divac, and I was just after the Magic years, and then I really lived through the Shaq and Kobe years. So Vin Scully, Chick Hearn was my kind of broadcaster, and how he used to put the game in the refrigerator. It's like the doors close, the lights are out, the butter's getting hard, the jello's jiggling. So that was kind of my first experience with broadcasting, and yeah, I didn't get too far. Ended up going to Bible college and was a youth pastor, and ended up going to South Africa, and that's where I met my wife. And so I kind of a lot of the books about that a lot
Yeah.
just kind of like we have these dreams for our lives, and sometimes life doesn't work out exactly the way that you want. Sometimes we wait for this dream that we have in our lives, and sometimes God puts these things, or however you believe, the universe or life just kind of happens,
Yep.
and it's kind of just being grateful for every everything in life. I share this story in the book about I have this daughter who I would say I tell in this story how her what is her favorite all time Barbie. It's that Barbie she doesn't have yet,
Yeah.
where um, she gets the Barbie for Christmas. She plays with it for like a week, and then she's like, "All right, I want that Barbie now." And so I feel like things we have in our lives, we get, we bought a house 2 years ago, and now we're like, all right, God, thanks for the house. And then there's something that breaks down, and we're doing all these repairs. Um, and we're like, I'm frustrated. This is taking a ton of work. Or you get this kid, you've been waiting years for trying to have a kid, and it's 2 a.m. and there's a diaper blowout. And you're like, this is crazy. I'm so frustrated. So all these things that we have, um, yeah, these dreams we accomplish, these gifts from God, these things that life brings us, can also be a challenge, and um, can also be, there's good and bad things that come with everything. But
Yeah.
I think really seeing where you at, seeing the things, like right now, I'm walking in the things I prayed for 10, 20 years ago. I wanted to be married and be a dad and have a house, and I'm married, I'm a dad, and I have a house. And now it's like, okay, what's next? What am I dreaming for, looking for now? But really just kind of uh, being thankful for whatever comes our way, and being appreciative of those things. I think COVID taught us that as well. Just kind of like, wow, when things are taken away from us, um, what it really just brings to the surface, kind of what is valuable, what is important in life.
So let me ask you this. Who's been a hero for you? Who's been that inspiration for you in your life?
Well, I dedicated this book to my dad. I have a really good relationship with my dad. Um, he's been always there for me. He was the best man at my wedding. Um, and so my dad, yeah, I have a good, he lives in California still. Both my dad and mom still live in California, and still um, thriving out there, retired. But yeah, just how to be, the idea of manhood is kind of spread um, through different, cultural things, or, the media. And so, and just fatherhood in general. I know some fathers just leave altogether. But my dad has been a huge inspiration to me, just constantly showing up for us, teaching us how to love my mom, how to, he's a very humble, um, humble man, but also very confident and strong. Just taught me a love for sports, and taught me about God. And so, yeah, I would say my dad's one of my best friends, and I get to chat with him every few weeks, and text, and do all the Wordle scores with each other. So
Yeah.
I love media, and we do Marco Polo with my family. So even though I live 1,000 miles away, with media these days, it's still great to connect with him, and how to um, how to be a dad, how to. I remember this is probably, I think I was like in my mid 30s, and I had never. He taught me a lot. He taught me how to change a tire, but I had not changed a tire in like years. And so I had the tire, or I jacked up the car, and then I'm like, Dad. I called my dad. This is like, November. It's starting to get cold outside, and I'm like, Dad, I can't get the lug nuts off. He's like, Well, did you already jack up the car? I'm like, Yeah. He's like, Put it back down. You need the weight of the car to get the lug nuts off.
Yeah.
So even in my mid 30s, I'm still calling my dad and asking
Yep.
him for advice. And um, I know it's kind of embarrassing. I'm not. always super great with things, or he taught me something. He just didn't have to do it, and so I hadn't done it in 10 years.
Yep.
So you just things you forget how to do, or so I'm still thankful, still calling my dad and
Yep.
asking him for advice.
So let me ask you this. If you can meet anybody on the planet right now, whether it's an author or someone you admire, spend some time with them, who would that be?
Hmm. I think it's hard to say. I think Bono. Bono is really cool.
Yeah.
Cool guy. Just somebody he's just kind of been excellent at his craft for a long time.
Yeah.
He has beautiful thoughts about the world and just like things he's experienced traveling the world, singing, and um, his love for people. I think his songs have um, been, you know, very instrumental. And I think, yeah, to anybody who is about peace and love for the world, I think even with the elections happening, we're very America focused, but there's so many beautiful people in the world. I lived for a year in South Africa and have been to several countries. So Bono is one. I think just him knowing the world, obviously being from another country and traveling the world, and anybody who has seen the world, has a huge perspective on the world. Because I think in America we get so focused on ourselves, how we think we are the center of the world, um, and the world is beautiful, and there's so many, just the diversity of people in the world with different lived experience and different cultures. Um, so yeah, I'd say Bono is one person I admire, and just his thoughts about life and God and the world.
So you're living kind of a dream of writing, and you've been around the world. You've done a lot of things in your life, but ultimately, at the end of the day, what are you the proudest of?
Yeah, I mean, I think um, I don't think I have one thing. I mean, just being a dad and a husband. My daughters, I'm very proud of them. Um, my wife does a great job homeschooling them, so um, just raising them up to be beautiful, intelligent, strong, capable young ladies. And it's just such a blessing to be at home with them, and I'm able to, if they're working on their math, I'm on a break from work, I'm on my lunch, I can go up and just speak a life into them. And if they're having a hard time with something, I can come and just give them a hug and speak value and destiny over them. And so, yeah, I think just being a dad um, is is amazing. I think there's so much that we have these dreams and visions for our lives. Like, okay, when I get that, then I'll be happy. Or when I accomplish this, or when people think I'm a big deal, or when people read my book, or people, when I have 100 reviews on Amazon. But I think just as the years have gone by, just cherishing those small things, like the my daughter's laughter, them running to me and giving me a big hug because they missed me, or um, them just playing with each other and being silly and laughing. So I think it's just this closeness I have with them, and just I can, if nobody reads my books, if nobody hears me speak or cares what I have to say, just their relationship, them saying how they're proud of me, my wife speaking encouraging things to me, saying she's proud of me, and saying that even talking to you today, she's encouraging me, saying I'm going to do great. And so I think that my family, being a family man, has been the thing that I'm most proud of.
So, as the man behind the book and everything that you do in your life, you're the ultimate author. Everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, all of your readers, everyone that you work with, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think, yeah, I mean, I just turned 40, so I've it's and I just celebrated 10 years of doing my job. So it's a lot of introspective time. Like, okay, I'm 40 to 65, hopefully, and retiring. So it's definitely been a thinking time for sure. So I think it's just to, yeah, looking inside and being proud of who I am, somebody who's simple. I don't have a lot. Uh, I have a college degree, but I don't try to be super um, profound of what I say, but very simple and tangible. So I would say I'm a self-described simple man, and somebody who is faithful. I don't run away when things are hard. Most jobs I'm in, I do like I've been doing my job for 10 years. I've been serving at my church for 14 years. And so I would say I'm, celebrating 14 years of marriage with my wife next week. Um, and so I'm a simple, faithful man who loves God, who allows Jesus to influence my life, try to do the best I can to follow the Bible, and um, and whatever happens, happens. Someone who's thankful for each and every moment of the day.
So if anyone wants to delve further into your story and your life with your book, I Can't Wait, or they want to reach out or learn more, any of the good business, where can they go?
Yeah, my website, Taylor, Taylor, Lyall, Lyall.us, like United States, is my website. Or you can follow me on Instagram or X, Twitter at Taylor Lyall, just my first and last name is a great way to connect with me. Also on TikTok for the kids these
Yeah.
days, uh, trying to branch out and kind of spread my message. But yeah, taylorlyall.us is my website, and it has a link to my book. I also did an audiobook. It's available on every streaming platform. And my book, I Can't Wait, is on Amazon, both ebook and print.
So I will put links in the show notes. Taylor, wonderful job. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your message. Thank you for your story, and send all my love to Chicago.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Thank you.